Welcome back to the session. In this module, we are going to delve into subject of transforming business requirements into something more of technical documents. There are two layers in the technical documentation. First, don't directly think about the developer who is going to be building that. Don't do that. Instead, as an architect, how are we going to materializing the business requirements into something like according to organization, according to the client preferences, how am I going to come up with the solution at the high level, surface level? Very simple. As a stakeholder, I gave my requirements. You came up with a BRD, I validated, we are all happy. Now we have to take it to the next level, that is project manager, product manager, program manager, team leader, senior software engineer. At the same time, business stakeholders all have to align themselves, understand then how are we going to solve this problem, what is the tech stack we are going to use. We primarily have got .NET developers. Why would I prefer the Node.js way of developing the application? We already invested onto SQL Server, licenses, everything available. Why are you coming with the PostgreSQL? So these are all the ADR. What is that? Architectural decision record will be created. So HLD, ADR, both will be created in this phase. Here we don't talk about how many number of microservices, what is the microservice, endpoint, contract, what is the request structure, response structure, error structure, whether we are going to have the health endpoint. None of this we talk. You only focus on to what is the tech stack you are going to use, how the authentication will work, are we going to make use of third-party authentication or customized authentication or any existing authentication services provided from third party. That's what you decide. So don't let yourself cross the boundaries of something targeted to developer. Only developer can understand. That means you are on the wrong track. So at this phase, both people who are going to implement, people who are given the business requirement, both should be able to understand technical aspects. Are you going to use monolith or microservices? No, I am not asking question. What architecture? Why? Why did you select microservices? No, I want to learn. Oh. Why did you select? That is called ADR, Architecture Decision Record. So later on, if someone comes and asks, for this kind of situation, why did you select microservices? Then you will have reason to describe. So this is the primary goal of this layer. What is it? Translating or transforming BRD into something which anybody who is in the tech understand. I am a core developer, I can understand, but this is not enough for me to be able to implement it. Are we good? So now we are going to go into the same. See how I am prompting, how I am going to give instructions such that I will get the right answers. You should always, like I said, 3 things you should keep in mind all the times whenever you interact with the AI model. Make sure that AI interviews you. Make sure that AI interviews you. Make sure that AI criticizes you. Make sure that AI criticizes you. What is the third one? Never let AI assume anything. Even if it is assuming, it should tell us. So the primary objective is that validating AI model whether it understood what you want or not. That's it. If you can exercise couple of maybe continuously for a few weeks or so, naturally you will start using right verbs, right words in your prompt. Okay, let's see an example of this. Yesterday we had a chat with Claude. I created a project called HA Training 002. What is that? Project is something like a workspace you create within the Claude, where you can have a number of chat sessions. Beautiful thing is that whatever the artifacts you create, generate, in that chat session can be included in the project such a way that automatically it will do the vectorizing. If you do the vectorizing, question that you ask, automatically look up only the chunk. It doesn't have to load the whole thing. Otherwise, what happens? Whole thing has to be loaded. Do you understand the impact? So when you are working with the Claude desktop or the chat GPT, there is an option called projects. Add artifacts. So how do you create a project? It's very simple. You just have to open a particular chat. There's something like an add project. Right now we added the project, that's why change project comes up. Otherwise add project. Projects. Now you can see that there are no artifacts available. Add PDFs, documents or other text to reference in this project. You don't want to introduce yourself every time, every chat session. So I can put all the things into the instructions. My name is Ram Kumar. I work as a consultant to HA. Likewise, you describe it. So I don't have to repeat it. Upload from the device 002 E to E docs BRD project documents. We added. So what do you know? What is the advantage? Now this particular document is vectorized. When you do some search, it doesn't load the whole thing. It will only retrieve the particular content, particular page, particular content. Okay. Right. Ready. So let us use the Word document. Great. I have had a meeting with business stakeholders to review the BRD created for the business requirement. Designed for the business requirement on patients and doctors management for our platform. Business owners have decided to name this platform as Nexus HA, and they all have accepted the business proposal about features that we are going to be implementing in this phase. Okay, they all accepted the business proposal about the features that we are going to be implementing in this phase. That means we have multiple phases. The current phase we have. Why are you saying this accepted and all? So now we are that is I mean to say that the BRD is concrete for me. Based on this only we are going to move forward. Okay. Next, as a solution architect, now I am required to design a high level technical specification document for this business requirement, having BRD references, BRD reference. Do we have to follow this kind of formal way to express? That shows your professionalism. You don't have to. You don't have to say please help and all. It's a machine only, no? That's the way we humans have been designed, especially when you got into the corporate world. Okay? And how you would compose your messages, paragraphic way in email composition also, follow the same approach. Okay. As a solution architect, now I am required to design a high level technical specification document for this business requirement, having the BRD reference. Okay. The document which we are going to create should capture the following details. Number 1, technology stack, architecture style, monolith or microservices, database type, deployment type, packaging and distribution details. For now, we don't have to focus on to low level technical details such as API endpoints, request and response structure, and the likes. It understands. Okay, I think you don't need to go into something like developer targeted. The primary goal is that goal of this exercise is to draft a document which makes business users or business owners understand how the platform is going to be built. Not targeted to software engineers or developers and so on. Right. Once again, note, do not assume anything while drafting the document about the choices or options, about the choices. Whenever I choose any option which is not obvious, I want you to criticize me about consequences of selecting such option. Do you understand my thoughts, my requirements, what I want? Interview me in the form of MCQs with 4 to 5 options, so I can quickly select the preference instead of me reading, typing in prose style. No Ram, I don't have that much of patience to type and all. That's why we do option to talk. There is a roadmap that you can talk in Kannada also, and then subsequent releases is coming up. Right now you have to talk in English only. Are we good? Don't worry, I will share this particular create public link, copy link, tiny URL, paste it, HA, S2 prompts. Can you hit this URL in your system? Let's see. You'll be able to get the prompts what I was composing. But you won't get the artifact because I am not sharing the artifacts right now. Are you able to reach out to this URL? All right. Right. We're ready to send. Go. Yes, I understand precisely, Ramkumar. To restate, so we are aligned. You are now wearing the solution architect hat, correct? Because initially we told business stakeholders. The deliverables is a high-level technical specification for the platform now named Nexus HA that references approved BRD. It must explain the business owner friendly language, not by developers. Now the platform will be built across 5 dimensions. No low-level details. I will not assume any of the choices. You decide them. And critically, whenever you pick something that is not obvious, say fit for this particular system, I'll push back. Ask more questions. Tell you the consequences. One quick grounding note I'll carry into my critique is that the BRD describes a medium scale, tens of thousands of records, single hospital, standalone, admin only, API first system with no integration, no notifications. That context matters a lot. Let me start. Ask now, answer the questions one by one. You can also tell him saying that ask questions in categories. Architecture type, database type, likewise categories. Okay. Architecture style. How should Nexus SA be structured? Are we going to follow microservices? Are we going to follow the monolith? Are we going to follow the modular monolith? Microservices, many independent services. We have only 2 services. Now, why are you going for microservices? This is a phase 1 of the implementation of the platform. We may be having EHR, billing, pharmacy, stock management, and supplier management. So many number of things yet to come. If you are targeting the bigger platform, bigger product, appointment scheduling, chat communication. You have to see the competitor and see what kind of capabilities we can bring it up. Having said that, microservices is a choice for me. Technology stack. We know that we are going to be using the C#.NET, C#.NET, .NET 10.0, ASP.NET API, REST API. No server side page rendering, client web applications, React, likewise, and React Native for web applications. It didn't ask, we provided, so that questions won't be asked related to this next. Go. Database type, we already invested onto our MS SQL server, so we have already invested, obtained licenses of SQL server on premises. We would like to use same host, but databases specific to services. So one host, but because the simple policy, database per service. So let me ask this question. What was the lesson that you had got yesterday by just going through 4-hour session? Yes, sir. What was the lesson?
By giving a proper prompt, we can generate proper business requirement document.
Okay, that is general. Okay. Yes, Rita. Don't let AI to assume anything. Very good. Aisha.
So the history, like how this AI got started. So the basic things are now we understood, and later how we need to ask the AI, and also we need to enable the AI to ask our questions. And not to assume anything. So that we should give the proper prompts so that it will give us the right things.
Right. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes.
I think the same answer.
Same answer.
AI can ask the question, so based on that we can give the prompt.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Yourself? Yes, yourself. What did you learn from what is the takeaway from the yesterday's content?
Like supervised learning.
Supervised learning. No, I'm not asking about the lecture what we had through or what. That is not my mindset. There is a takeaway point. This is what I'm going to be using once I go back to my office. Something like that you may be having, no? Takeaway points. Of course, AI evolution, all are required. You should know the essence, agentic AI, MCP, A to A, all things, data-driven learning, all are required. I'm not denying that. But there is something like it changed the way you start seeing the AI. What is that value proposition? That is what I'm asking. What is that? Mindset changes. Okay, that is very important thing. Apart from that, what did you see? What kind of changes you see? Yes, sir. Yourself. The girl next to. Yeah.
So previously the application constraint our thinking, but now we'll instruct AI to enhance the application. So with the help of that, we will expertise the prompts and provide the inputs to the AI.
Correct. Actually, this is the lesson. Let me just fine tune according to what we have learned. But you're not in the way to express that. What is that? Is one of the management thought also. Did AI understand what you want? Did AI understand what exactly you want? have you conveyed the messages? It should not do overdo. It should not do something like doing something less. We want exactly what A want to do. So the mindset perception is that don't ask like this, what A can do for you. Don't do that. Don't say in that way, what A can do for me. No. How can I be useful to A so that A will do for me? A will do things for me. How can I be useful to AI so that A exactly does what I want? So in family and all, you can see, wife will ask husband, do you understand what I wanted to get from the market? The onion should be very small. Onion should be very moderate. Not be big or not small. The management are the same thing. What is that? The executive always say that, did you understand what I wanted? Once you understood, we are good. Exactly, same thing. That is the mindset. What is that? Did you make A understand what you want? Okay. Can you confirm that A understood what you want? Meanings are same. Only thing is that the dimension. So don't ask the question, what Claude, what AI can do for you. Instead, how can I be useful to AI to such a way that it will understand what I wanted and it will exactly do what I needed. That's it. That is the lesson. So, of course, AI evolution all are important, but mindset should have been changed. Your mindset should have been changed by now. Now I'm just going to take you to the next levels. So within 2 to 3 days, you would have become so fine-tuned. Next time when you convey the messages, you will exactly get what you want. Instead of assuming, that's why I have given some tips also. What is that? 3 things. Don't let AI assume. Let AI criticize you. And importantly, let the AI ask you questions. So far what you have been learning in many places, you should ask question to AI. AI will give the answer. No, the dimension has been shifted. Very good. Let's come back to the point. Architecture. Having heard the consequences, what is your decision for Nexus HA? Keep microservices or switch to modular monolith? Because you said only 2 services, no. Keep microservices, as we are implementing only few capabilities of the entire platform, the entire platform in phase 1, and in subsequent phases we shall be adding more capabilities. That's why we selected. Do you know why I'm adding this? This will go to ADR, Architecture Decision Record. Someone will ask later upon a time, only 2 services, why are you complexifying the microservices, blah 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 blah. Because when you come microservices, transaction has to be distributed. There is a dependency. One service fails, what happens to other service? So there are so many number of problems you must address when it comes to distributed computing, distributed style, distributed architecture. That's why these guys, 2 services, why are you going for that? Deployment type. Where will Nexus HA run? On-premises VM bare metal, on-premises Kubernetes cluster, public cloud, hybrid, not sure. Initially, I shall be deploying in containers, in Docker containers, managed with Docker Compose, and later it shall be deployed to Azure Kubernetes services, deployed to AKS orchestrator. This answer aligns with the previous answer also. So make sure that your answer doesn't conflict, otherwise it will once again prompt, because I told him to not assume anything. Packing and distribution, Docker containers, Kubernetes orchestration, Docker container, Docker compose. We already answered that, so same should be fine. Microservices justified by phasing, accepted with one honest nuance. We are shipping few capabilities now, adding more later is a perfectly reasonable business rationale, and I will document it as a rationale. The one thing that I gently note, that stop pressing, adding capabilities later is actually a classic argument for starting modular monolith first approach, because right now you don't yet know full capability map. Microservices force you to commit service boundaries early. That is fine. So Docker compose AKs later, sound direction, two consequences to write down. The good news is that containers are the right unit, and because the same images carry forward, the compose Docker AKs you move should be a configurable configuration, not a rebuild. Two things business owners should see in writing. What is that? The interim posture is not highly available. You said Docker compose, you are going to run it local system. Are you going to get the HA? Then you should give the convincing answer. What is that? In the phase 1, we are trying it out. For example, pilot phase. We wanted to try it out, how patients, Docker management and the public access, everything working. In the phase 2 only, we are going to go live market. Phase 3 only, we are going to go live market. You should give the convincing answer. Then only the ADR will be noted. So, AKS on-prem SQL Server, hybrid topology. You said this, you already obtained the SQL Server license. That means you are going to run locally. And then now you are saying that AKS. So containers are running Azure. Database is available in local environment. What does it mean? I seem to be having some conflict. You are able to follow me? So such case, are you going to create one virtual network or something like a Express, there's something like a on-premises gateway. Azure to your HA network. Okay. Your compute moves to Azure while your data stays in on-premises. That introduces cross-boundary network latency and requires a secure connectivity, VPN, Express router, so between AKS and database. This chatty microservices talking to a remote database feel latency. You should convey. What is that? I will use my SQL Server licenses, create Azure VM in the Azure, or in Azure SQL I will use my licenses if that is option. Then only this particular issue will be addressed. Right. So that is a complete coherent picture. I have the 5 dimensions. I will draft a high level technical specification now. Kill it. Let us now answer the questions. Anyway, it was doing, don't worry. Now we will add something, it will continue. What is that? For initial phases of the application platform deployment, I shall be hosting all containers running in a local environment, on-premises, environment. Okay. Later phases, I shall be moving the database also to Azure hosted VMs with my license, or using Azure SQL with my license, Azure managed instance with my license. So this latency problem or performance problem can be addressed. Do you get my points? Any questions based on my answers? Yes, I get your point, and this is a sharper plan that we had a moment ago. Let me play it back to confirm. Early phase, everything runs on premises. The containers via Docker Compose sit on the on premises environment. Later phases, you lift the compute to AKS, move the database into Azure 2, either on Azure VM running on a SQL Server under own license, or Azure SQL managed instance under your hybrid benefit. So compute and data once co-located, this time in the cloud. That directly resolves the latency problems I flagged. You never run cloud computing on-premise database as a steady state. Only at most as a brief transition window. Good. I'll downgrade the risk in the document accordingly. Correct my phase 2 diagram. Now, honoring your standing instruction flag consequences, your plan trades one problem. What is that? DPDP. You're supposed to be having the data with you only, no? So how are you going to make sure that you're going to be solving this? Well, everything is on premises, you have maximum control, clean data residency store. The moment patient doctor PIA moves to an Azure host database, you have introduced data residency, data sovereignty consideration under India's DPDP Act. The data now lives with the cloud provider acting as a data processor. You must ensure that it stays with India or Azure region. So that is a constraint. What is that? You select South India, Central India, West India to keep your data within India region as per the requirement. Correct. With the appropriate processor, contractual safeguards and access controls in place. It is entirely permissible, but it stops being automatic and becomes something you must consciously manage, because Government of India penalizes up to 250 crore if something is not obeyed as per the DPDP Act. It depends on the business volume you deal with. So it's a very big consequence. I would be doing a disservice not to surface with that, since the cloud move exactly the kind of a non-obvious decision with the downstream consequences. You asked me to challenge. One more, smaller. The VM bring your license versus managed instance, so choice itself is a real trade-off. The VM is a lift and shift, full control, but you keep patching. Backups, HA yourself. Managed instance hands most of the Microsoft, most of the app to Microsoft, but requires something confirming your license qualifies for a hybrid benefit, accepting pass. That decision can be safely deferred to the later phases rather than locked now. See, you said you have a license, no? The license should be compatible to SQL managed instances in Azure, because some of the features are automatically done by Microsoft, not by ourselves. But if you are hosting a VM and running the SQL server, it is in your control. So the license, what you got? For example, you got the standard license, standard edition license. But the guys where they have been hosting the managed instances are enterprise edition licenses. So some other things will not match. So you will not get the benefit. Alright. Just two quick things settle now. Later phase database hosting. How should I capture the Azure DB choice in the document? Leave deferred. Document both option and trade-offs. DPDP data residency. When database, yes, mandate India or Azure region, processor safeguards. Correct. kill it. It's okay. Now it captured the decision. Only thing is that it didn't start processing it. Now I am going to add. In the HLD, I would like to add few more elements in the document. Mermaid diagrams, architecture, database diagram, high level, not low level, including columns. Deployment diagrams, component diagrams. Importantly, I want the use case diagrams. So yesterday you saw that mermaid, right? Text based diagram presentation. Okay. Anything else to be added? Let us think over. Can you help me to understand how authentication is implemented in the system without detailing everything now? Because we didn't talk about it. We said we want the IAM, but how are you going to implement it? Okay. Next. Before you draft the document, can you highlight all sections that you are going to be generating in the document? Why are we asking this? I want to know what is going to contain. Sometimes it gives you. If it doesn't give, better to ask no. Hey, what are you going to generate? This guy will say, I will be generating 17 sections. Then you can validate. No, I don't want these sections. So the lesson is that don't accept whatever is given to you. I recorded your last two decisions. A later phase Azure database choice stays deferred. My DPDB residence will be returned as mandate. Data must reside in India, Azure region with the proper data processor safeguards. Before I draft a single line, here is the full section map I am proposing with your 5 mermaid diagrams. Propose HLD structure for XSA. Front matter, title page, document control, table of contents, introduction purpose, solution overview, technology stack, architecture side, data architecture, authentication high level, deployment approach, packaging distribution, use cases, phase to delivery map, roadmap, known limitations and trade-off risk, assumptions, the constraint, glossary, appendix, memo diagram, sources. On authentication high level view, you ask me, no. Authentication answers a simple question: who is responsible and what they who are they allowed in? Because the BRD only administrative staff use Nexus HA. That's what you told. patients and doctors never log in. This applies solely to admin accounts. This is what we decided. So the question comes up. This is what we decided. Patient also should be able to log in. Doctor also should be able to log in. At a high level, the flow is a standard modern mapping, and admin signs in the web or mobile application, and identity component checks their credentials. On success, admin receives the signed and time limited digital token. Think of it as a tamper proof visitor pass that carries the identity. That is anyway, that's fine. Every API request carries it, token based authentication. So in the BRD, somewhere the alignment happens such a way that only admin and staff are going to be using. Now you may ask one question now. What they are going to do with the patient app? Assume that I am developing a hospital app, patient app. What are they going to do? They will see only their information. In doctor, they can only see their information. Only when the admin staff logs into the mobile app or web application, they can see all the patient and the doctors. That's what we can visualize, isn't it? Suppose if you are adding something like an interaction, appointment scheduling, health record download, upload, that makes sense, or pharmacy, that makes sense. Okay, authentication. Where should the identity be managed? Self-hosted identity service inside the platform, on-premise friendly, full control. Or are you going to use Azure Enter ID? Self-hosted now, federate Enter ID, the Azure faces later. Okay. Self-hosted identity service. Multi-factor authentication. Do you support, should admin log request a second factor? This is the privileged healthcare data access. No MFA for now. Document outline. Are you happy for me to proceed with the structure above? The example structure that what is given. Okay, approved, draft it as outlined. We'll kill this once again. Can you make sure that you generate markdown file format instead of Word document? So we can see literally. Because if the Word document is generated, the markdown content will be converted to PNG. The mermaid diagram converted to PNG. Then using GraphViz, they will embed it. If it is a markdown file, I can literally see the markdown content, the mermaid content. So lesson is that any point of time you can go back, cancel, rephrase it. So once again it will continue from, most likely it will not continue from the place it stopped because of the document generation was going on. Suddenly you said create a new document. So it may have to go back to previous step and continue. Okay, this is for your information. Yesterday we have had lectures and demos. All are now uploaded to this Google Drive. Unfortunately, inside your office network, you will not be able to reach out to the Google Drive. So, in the morning batch, Deep Jyoti was there. So I told him saying that, could you please convey the message to Rijo, so that he will be able to download from the infrastructure admin point of view, keep it locally in the HA network so that all can access. So I will once again give you the same information to you. So if someone can point out to Rijo and ask him to do the download. Of course, this is accessible personal laptop also, but not in your office laptop. So let me just give you the link. Can you try from a laptop? Most likely you will not be able to reach out to this. Or you can open your mobile phone and try to reach out to this. See, so advanced. He's taking the photo, uploading to ChatGPT, converting that into text. Very advanced. Not 4 in this and typo only. What else I can say? Yeah. Mobile device, it is accessible from your local laptop. Office laptop, you will not be able to reach out to that. You have to use your personal laptop. I would be keeping this content 1 week. Okay, within the 1 week, you download it and keep a copy. Are we good? Yes. So daily basis I will be uploading the content here. Remember that I told I will be giving some system design principles also. Let me check that. Do I have that? It is in my hand. Do you see that there is a file called system design concepts? See this? This particular document contains all the system design principles that you generally incorporate when you are developing enterprise grade software. Horizontal scaling, vertical scaling, load balancing, reverse proxy, CDN, caching, 112 concepts. Not going to be applying all of them, but most of them shall be applied. So previously, we don't know how to get these capabilities because most of the time we have to seek some third party or any implementations, or we have to implement by ourselves. But at this era, if you tell them, either will recommend the library which has the implementation, or service which provide these kind of capabilities, or it help you to implement on its own. So there is a file called system design concepts.pdf. Okay, let's come back to that. A document is ready. Download as MD. E2E docs. HLD Nexus HA. We'll open Visual Studio Code. File, open folder. C docs. HLD Nexus HA. In the Visual Studio Code, we have extensions. If you search for Markdown Preview, install this extension. I already installed it. If you do that, the advantage is right click the MD file, preview, Markdown Preview enhanced, and you can now see it in browser. Wonderful. So, high level technical specification for Nexus HA. Table of contents, introduction purpose. Okay. Wow, solution architecture diagram is ready. So this is the mermaid diagram. See this? This is a mermaid. You can copy this particular diagram content. Mermaid at live. Wonderful, isn't it? We are going to have web application, mobile application. Both are connected to our application services: identity, patient, doctor, branches, audit. Then those are connected to database. So it is coming with a recommendation called branches services as well as auditing services. In the LLD, we will see how it can be handled. Right. Go back to the browser. Decision summary. Technology stack. Architecture style. Patients validate tokens. Doctor validate tokens. Branches validate tokens. Patient record. Doctor records. Branches records in auditing. Data architecture. Admin, audit entry, patient, all the. Remember, we told them to create the database tables. We didn't ask them to say the create the column, relationship, FK, PK. Authentication access. Deployment approach. Right now, we are going to keep everything in the on-premises. Packaging and distribution. Use cases. How different people are different people. Right now, my administrator and staff are going to make use of sign in, create, manage, create doctor record, upload documents, advance doctor lifecycle, associate records with the branches, view audit history. Phased delivery map. Okay. Known limitation. Assumption and constraint. Glossary. What is missing? You took some decision, right? We are going to choose microservices. Azure later. On-premises in the phase 1. When someone come and ask you, how are you going to give explanation to them? They have to read the whole document. So what we generally prefer to do is that, can you design ADR, architecture, decision record document in the markdown file format about our decisions made while preparing the HLD. ADR register is a perfect companion to HLD, and it's where consequences you ask me to surface throughout the really belong, I'll capture each decision, create a separate document. It is a good practice to have ADR along with HLD. Now, to whom are we targeting generating this HLD? Developer? No. Program manager? Yes, program manager. Product manager, project manager, team lead? Yes. Solution architect? Yes. Stakeholder? Stakeholder, as long as they have some technical understanding. These days, most of the stakeholders have got that, because a client representative will have the technical understanding. So, it is perfectly alright. So, download as MD, ADR. See there, we have an option called add to project. Do you know what is the meaning? Add this artifact to the project so that it becomes vectorized. Now see the 3 documents that are available. Any questions? Okay. As a solution architect, as a team lead, what you should do after this? BRD created for a business requirement targeted to business people. HLD created out of the BRD to target to people who want to understand the technology at a high level. How are we going to implement this? Are they sync? Possibly sync. Maybe there is a drift. For example, Aisha created the BRD given to Sri Krishna. It may so happen that based on the decision what he has taken, no, as a solution architect, there is a drift which is coming out of BRD. So, as a solution architect or as a stakeholder, either of the people, they should see that how both of them are aligned. If there is only 5% drift, ignore it, not a problem at all. 25% difference. That means whatever Aisha has given in the BRD, there is a deviation in the selection process of technology stack or whatever it is in the HLD. Once the deviation starts, no, in the implementation plan or the real implementation, you will see that lot of variation. Are we good to understand? So the deviation should not cross more than 2 to 3%, max 5%. This concludes our session on how do we design the next phase, next layer of structured spec driven development of an application.